Good evening. My name's Cliff Smith. I've lived in Rehoboth for approximately 44 years now, with the exception of a couple years after high school. I am running for the position of constable also, for the same reason that Mr. Degner would like to give back to the community. I have spent 6 years as a firefighter for the Rehoboth Fire Department, and I am now in my 7th year as an EMT on a Rehoboth ambulance. So it's just be another way for me to give back to the community and to get my foot in politics and try to do what I can for the folks of Rehoboth.
Good evening, Mr. Moderator. Good evening all to Rehoboth Business Association. Thank you for the invite. My name is Joseph Nunes. I've been a resident of this town for 22 years. I am a transplant. Grew up and raised in Pawtucket. Same scenario as Mike, pretty much. We decided to move out of the city and move somewhere different, and we decided that this is the town that's best for us and our family. I'm running for Water Commission, a position that I've held for 3 years and been promoted or been advanced to chairman of the Water Commission. I also would love to give back to the community, but my roots started way back in junior high school, where I was running as on the student council and in high school and through my college years, where I was one of the class presidents for my first college. Always involved in the community, but that was raised and bred into me from my family, because they also donated their time back to the community. And I, too, want to do the same thing. I enjoy what I'm doing. I'm a graduate mechanical engineer. I like the position that I'm in. It's exciting. It's knowledgeable, not being a born resident of this town, of the history of this town. And that's the part that I enjoy the most, is listening to my more senior members on the Water Commission talk about what happened in town. I just take that in and absorb it and say, we've got to maintain this way of life that we have. We've got to maintain the environment that we have so that the citizens of our town have a better way of life and have a better life. And if children have a better life if they decided to stay in town. These are the reasons why I'm running for Water Commission. Thank you.
I moved back in the area about 40 years ago, and I guess have been reasonably well involved in things, so like a lot of other people. But I've been in the Lions Club for 40 years, and I just wanted, while I'm here, just to give an expression of thanks to the Lions Club for all the support the business community is giving us. Back to the other issues. I had an opportunity to be on the GR School Committee for about 7 years, probably when you were in high school, and was town meeting moderator for about 7 years. I actually served his term as treasurer when Dick Luthi, his military injuries caught up with him and he couldn't continue on it. And I've been involved as a trustee for the Antiquarian Society, which is the Carpenter Museum and of course the library in town, for quite a while. Say, why do you need to get more involved in stuff? Well, I live right in the center of town. I've obviously spent a lot of time in different places and interesting in what's going on. I got involved in the Water Commission because, again, I've been concerned about the environmental thing, but mainly because when I started asking questions around over the years, I found out that we don't know where our water comes from. There's a few people who still have dug wells, and that comes out of groundwater, and there's a groundwater responsibility for the planning board. But everybody else has got a drill well. So there's lots of drill wells, and the house is going to drill well. And literally, some of us are drinking water that's 200 million years old, and some of us are drinking water that fell in rain last year sometime, was able to seep into the ground, and we actually get our water from cracks in a rock. And we live on an old coal basin, big old swamp runs from the mouth of Narragansett Bay out to Situate, and we're right in the middle of that. And there's coal underneath us. I remember with Church and West Dighton drilled a well about 20 years ago or so, and they found coal at 95 feet. Well, if you look at the well logs and stuff, you see that every once in a while somebody gets into it. That means we've got a real varied environment, because the reason we have coal is the same reason we have shale. 200 million years ago, the place, one continent ran into the other, and it crumpled everything up. And so we're just drinking water out of the cracks in the ground. And that has limitations. And nobody knows what they are. So I felt I had a technical background, and I knew some of the other people involved, and a pretty good group of people, all interested in things. And that's just how we got involved. So other than that, anybody have any questions and things, I'll be pleased to answer them. Thank you.
Mr. Ballard.
Yes.
Can we start with you?
I'm closest, right?
You have a microphone, I figured, why not? What do you feel is the responsibilities and duties of your position? And exactly what do you do?
Okay, the responsibility is undefined. The Water Commission actually has no authority. The Water District is unique in the state of Massachusetts. Almost every other place that we were able to find out, including in the legal search, the Water Commission is part of the town administration, works for the Board of Selectmen of Public Works or something like that. In Rehoboth, we have a home rule passed by the legislature, and the reason why that was instituted back in '96 was that people in town got concerned about people coming and buying up property and taking water and pumping it out of town. That was the first situation. So when it was set up, basically it's designed to have responsibility for when you need to have a way of obtaining water and selling it. In other words, having a water department distributing water.
All set.
That's how the whole thing is set up. So we have no responsibility except as an advisory situation.
Thank you, Mr. Ballard.
Collect information.
Again, as a reminder to the format, there's only 1 minute response time. Mr. Ballard, thank you very much for your response. Mr. Nunes, same question. What do you feel are the duties and responsibilities of your position? And what do you see yourself doing in your position itself?
The duties in our position are, as Mr. Ballard alluded to, are very limited. We have absolutely no responsibility. We're more of a advisory board to the selectmen. Our responsibilities lie with the citizens of the town of Rehoboth in making sure that the water that is being supplied to Bristol County does not exceed their daily limit of 2.7 million gallons per day. We just want to guarantee and assure that the water stays in town and they do not exceed that limit. As far as the future goes, Mrs. Moderator, it is going to be our duty just to make sure that that is maintained, and that whatever construction is being done by Bristol County Water Authority, which is
10 seconds.
out of Bristol, Barrington, and East Providence and Warren, that they do not exceed that limit in any construction. We will be just an advisory to all of the boards in town. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nunes. Mr. Smith, as you can tell, this is a softball question all across the board, so the same question to you. Get you warmed up.
The position of constable would be responsible for posting town notices in different buildings in town. Also responsible for standing at the polling stations and making sure sign holders and whatnot are not interfering with folks coming in to vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Please.
Well, to draw upon the previous response, the duties of constables is actually codified in Mass General Law. chapter 41, I believe it is, but sometimes my memory fails me on that. However, principally here in town, the role of constable is to work at the town elections and to ensure that the various election laws are upheld, such as no candidates coming into town hall on election day when they're not supposed to. In addition, making sure that people are 150 feet, sign holders 150 feet away from the building. In addition, constables are civil process servers, so we serve notices like eviction notices or no trespass orders to individuals for the town, in addition to for lawyers and other parties.
Thank you. Travis?
Yes, so I'll keep the same order, I guess, yeah. Mr. Ballard, I have a question that maybe is not in the realm of the Water Commission, but you seem like the most appropriate board to ask this of. Yeah, so how's that for a loaded question? So what would be your position about ever exploring the possibility of extending water down Route 44 from Seekonk or Dayton? Why do you think it would be a good idea, or why do you think it would be a bad idea?
Well, Israel has a bunch of things, okay? You'd have to have a real purpose and need for it from the standpoint of, the necessity to supply if there was nothing available. But if you think about what's involved in that, I don't know what it costs to do the construction work, but it would not be insignificant. At the present time, the way the things are set up, it appears that everybody in town would have to pay for that, and that means you'd have to set up a collection mechanism, you'd have to set up a bill-paying mechanism, and to start right out, if you're going to have to send out bills to everybody in town. Should I just have a second?
Yeah.
That means that somebody might be paying 25 cents a year and somebody else $2 or whatever the number had to be. And you'd have to set up the assessors, probably add a half a person in the assessor's office, another half a person in the tax collector's office. So starting right out with 50 grand of expenditures before you even think about why you want to run the water line. So it's not a very easy thing to answer. And the point is that you really have to have a demonstrated need in order to be able to do it.
Thank you, Mr. Allen.
Mr. Smith, excuse me, Mr. Nunes. Mr. Nunes, could I ask you the same question? Maybe you have a different take or same take?
It's almost the same take, but yes, you can ask the same question. I have a different take. As much as I parrot what Mr. Ballard said as far as having water running down 44 costing the town a lot of money, it would also invite a lot of development. And would you want Route 44 to look like Route 6, Route 2, and Route 1? That is a thing that as a resident we really have to ask ourselves, is that what we want for our town? Allowing water to come down 44 would open up the doors to commercialism just like Seekonk, Attleboro, and Warwick. And for me, selfishly as it might sound, that is not why I moved into Rehoboth, and that's why I don't want to, I would not want to see this town going in that direction.